Hello, everyone. Erin here. With Thanksgiving right around the corner, I was inspired and cue Dave. Oh, I think he's going to go around. Oh, amazing. I thought surely he was going to crash into the video the second I started filming. But these are our Thanksgiving photos from 2024. And with the 2025 holiday right around the corner, I wanted to get these scrapbooked. So I have a whole bunch of photos here and some family photos, group photos, just some kind of casual action shots. Pictures of this is our fire pit, and I thought this was funny. We were all huddled around it because it was cold, and I'm like, that's kind of neat with our feet all around the fireplace. So I snapped a picture, and then there's my immediate family there. You can see I have a whole bunch of photos. I decided to get in on my upline Cindy Jackson's sketch challenge for November. This is a team sketch challenge, and all the measurements, I've got it kind of folded over here. She does provide the measurements, but you can see we've got lots of great paper layers here, and there's spots for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 photos. I have more photos, so I'm going to be switching it up by using this as my inspiration jumping off point. It kind of helped me print my photos. I didn't do a 5x7 because this one here, where is it? My family photo was the only portrait one I had that I wanted large. It was so tight. The photographer really got in tight edge to edge. So in order for me to enlarge the photo, it would have started cropping in on Clayton and Desiree. So I made it as big as I could to keep the composition. And we've got some square photos, landscape photos, 3x4s and 4x4s. So let me go ahead and clear this up here. I'm using the Gathering Together paper. It's just perfect for any of your fall memories. It's so pretty. I've created lots of layouts actually already here on my channel. So I know many of you have already seen this beautiful paper. This is a frame style layout, so there's a border of cardstock or pattern paper all the way around the outside, and I thought this a beautiful early espresso would be nice to create that border. Let me bring the papers back in here so you can see there are 3 different what could be pattern papers or cardstock colors or a mix of both, and then again the frame style layout. So I like to put my darker colors at the bottom, and then the photos are going right across the center there, so I do need to be mindful of where I put the busier pattern papers. And I have this strip of pattern paper with the leaves on it. There's lots of different colors in here. Some have, this one has the green and golds. This one is just the orange and brown tones. And then there is this one here that has, I forgot to bring this one in. It's got like a tannish color wood grain on the back and then another leaf pattern. And this one doesn't have the green, and it's got like that tan basic beige background rather than the white. But since I have this strip, I thought, you know what, let's kind of go with this. And I haven't yet to use this paper. So we have the title and whatnot at the top. So I just want to be mindful of that. And I'm thinking we could use the, busiest pattern paper kind of in the center there. And then we need one on the bottom. So let's see. I don't know if I like that combination. This is kind of fancy, and then to me the plaid is kind of fun and casual. And then let's see, we have this green one here, which I think is beautiful. There is a wood grain on the other side in that early espresso, so that's pretty. And this has gold foiled lines, and then this has gold foiling, and so does this. So it's all playing really nicely together. Let's see what that looks like. So I'm going to bring in my main photos that I know I want on this side. And then we've got a couple 3x4s in, or 4x3s in landscape mode there. But I'm probably going to be adding, well, not probably, I am adding more photos because I have several. I'm also going to be using flip flaps because I have too many photos to fit this space. So I could theoretically go top to bottom with these, but I do want a little bit of space. So I think I'll just add a flip flap here. And we already have a cousins photo here. These are all of the cousins. And then these are the boy cousins that were, I thought it'd be fun to include the insides because you can see a little bit of my decoration. Sometimes it's fun to look back and go, oh yeah, I remember that couch, because that couch is probably not long for this world. It's definitely seen better days. And then this is my nephew Logan and his girlfriend. And then I got a shot of everyone eating at the table there outside. So I thought, and you know what? This one I think looks good against that busier background because there's leaves in this one and leaves in this one that are the greens and golds. So this one's like closer up, and I think it's not competing as much. Okay, so there's that option. I think it's pretty, but I'm going to try one more combination here. I do like this leaf paper in the center, but what if we went with this one? It's a little bit less busy, but it's still a beautiful pattern. And then I'm wondering how the wood grain's going to look on the bottom. I absolutely love the richness of this early espresso wood grain. So we need to go maybe like that and then have this on the bottom. Let's, whoops, hold this little guy with the magnet here. And then we can bring the photos back in and see how that looks. I will want to mat this. These are printed with a white border. And you can see they don't, really pop off that background per se. So I might bring in a layer for those. I'm just going to set that one there for now. We'll do the ones that are on top. So there's that combination also. And again, we've got the title up here and lots of layering bits. So this neutral background is going to allow those to really stand out. And then we've got journaling down here, but I've got an extra photo. But since I have some flip-flap space, I could put my journaling in the flip-flap if need be. So I think I like this color combination, and I'm almost wondering, this green paper is so pretty, we can still bring this in. And I chose this one. Well, for one, it's a scrap and I wanted to use it up, but I like that it has all the colors because you do see the browns and there's yellows and golds in all of the pictures. So I think that that looks nice with this. What if we just did a strip of this one? We're kind of, again, making the sketch our own here. I like that because, if I had the green down here, then that wouldn't have worked. And I think those look really pretty on the green. Okay, I've got my start and I am going to cut these down and we will get going with the fun embellishing part of the layout. I have my paper layers cut all the way across here, and you can see that this early espresso wood grain doesn't really stand out against the border of the espresso cardstock. And since there's so much gold foiling in this paper collection, I thought it would be really pretty to add some gold detailing to the bottom of this. I only want to do the outside edge and the bottom. This is a Spectrum Noir paint pen, and this is the 3mm bullet tip. You want to shake it really well, and then you can just use this to edge your paper. You want to keep your wrist straight and pull back from your elbow, and the edge of paper is sharp, so this eventually will damage your marker tip, but this is pretty much the only thing I use my paint pen for, so I am completely okay with this. And you want to use a wipeable surface. You can see it on my glass mat, but it wipes right up. It is paint, so you want to do that pretty, much right away to make your life easier, but do not do that on your Versamat. It will stay there forever. So let me bring this back in. It looks so pretty. And we'll straighten up our paper layers here. I decided to add the gold paint pen to the top border as well, and then I just did early espresso here just to darken up that edge and add a little contrast. So we can bring our photos back in. Actually, I think I had that one at the bottom, this one in the middle, and then the group photo of the cousins there. And then let's hope that this side looks good. Just kidding, I'm sure it will. So this one of the fire pit is going to go under a flip flap, and I am changing up the orientation of the photos just a bit over here. So obviously I want to see my son Hayden and his girlfriend Desiree more than the fire pit photo, but I still like that one in there. So that'll sit under a 4x4 flip flap. This one will go here. And then I have two portrait style 3x4s. This one is my mom and I. And then I have this one. It's actually not a great photo. My son's eyes are closed. Actually, Mike's are too. They were just laughing it up. And I should have had the live setting on my phone turned on. And then I probably could have found the shot with their eyes open. But they were just over here having a good time, having a conversation. And we will put that one under a 3x4 flip flap. You'll notice on the sketch, Cindy's designed this to have another 4x4, which I really like, but if I had cropped this one into a square, it would have, not been a great composition for the photo. So I just switched it to a 3x4, and made that work. So this is how my photos are going to sit here. And I mentioned wanting to bring in some green to go behind these photos. So I did cut that down. We've got a strip here. I left it the full 12 inches just because I'm not quite sure if I want to put a banner in the bottom yet. So we'll leave this here for now. And since I introduced this to the left side, I really want to make sure to bring this over into the right side somehow. I don't want to forget to let you know that Stampin' Up! Is having their first ever Black Friday sale. That's pretty cool. So if you're watching this video on Tuesday, November 25th, that is when this sale goes live. You can see November 25th, and it runs through December 1st, and it's up to 40% off select products. So there's different products and different discounts. It's not site-wide, but there's lots of good things in the sale. You definitely want to check that out. And then to celebrate along with that, I am having my own promotion. It's called the Grateful High Five. So it's the same dates, November 25th through December 1st. And I just wanted to say thank you. So I'm offering a little something extra. I'm calling it the High Five because it's $5 in Stampin' Rewards. So when you place a qualifying order on my Stampin' Up! Website during the promotion dates, you will receive $5 in Stampin' Rewards as a little thank you gift from me to you. So here's the details. Again, it's a $75 order to qualify, and that's before tax and shipping. One gift per customer, and I don't have endless Stampin' Rewards. I wish I did. Wouldn't that be amazing? But I do have to limit that to 100 orders. So it's the first 100 orders, and you do have to have an online Stampin' Up! Account for me to be able to gift you those Stampin' Rewards. So don't forget about my grateful high five. I just want to give back and show you how much I appreciate you with a little extra $5 Stampin' Reward bonus. All right, back to our layout design. Again, we've got a title featured here. Not that I have to stick to that. I certainly could, put embellishments up there and use this area as my title if I wanted to. But a title here, a subtitle here, and a little embellishment cluster here over on the side there. So I'm going to look at title options right now and kind of start with that. I went through both my fall stamps and my title stamp category and found these two. So this was from last year, but you may have this in your stash. I like this Bountiful Blessings, and this has a similar vibe. So they're different fonts, but you have like a blocky font with a scripty font in both places. And I like this one. And this one, Celebrate Together, is still available. And I love this one because these are great titles. And then it has all these wordy bits and they coordinate with the arrow or the tab, and it's just a nice little stamp plus a little, border there that could be really cute. But I'm going to stamp out A Day to Remember and Bountiful Blessings. Let me scooch this out of the way and bring in my Misty Mini. I have both of those stamps in here, one at the top and one at the bottom, so I can stamp them at the same time. We'll bring in a couple scraps of white cardstock, and then I have Early Espresso for my ink. I wanted something dark so they stand out. These titles are a little bit on the smaller side, so I thought the dark color would be a nice contrast. And I think I need to hit this one more time. We'll stamp that again. And I don't have coordinating dies for these, so I'm going to have to fussy cut them out. These are roughly the same size, so either one could be my title and the other one be a subtitle, but I think I like it like this. So for this main focal photo, I've grabbed a piece of crumb cake cardstock. I want just a little something behind that. So I like that. It looks good. And I left it extra long so we could put a tear in the bottom, something a little bit different from my usual dovetail. And I like it going on an angle like that. And I have an idea to bring in some ribbon to decorate the bottom of that. Now for this one, I'm going to go ahead and fold it in half and do my traditional little go-to dovetail. And I like how they're different. I think it just kind of mixes it up and makes it interesting. So we will bring this one back in and line up our photos here. I'm loving this green color. I just think it's so pretty. So let's bring our title here. And for the bottom, what I want to do is ink this up first, and then I have some ribbon. I'm trying to be more mindful to use my ribbon. I love it. I buy it, and then I don't use very much of it. So this is a good opportunity to add a little texture and use up some of that ribbon. This one is called Irregular Weave. It's a really neat texture, but that doesn't quite show up as much as I want. This one's good. This was a ribbon from last year's fall collection. It's called Rustic Striped Ribbon. So what I'm going to do is just adhere this down. I like to use either glue dots or tape runner with my ribbon, just a little bit on the backside here, and then we'll line it up just under the photo, create a little border, and then add a little adhesive to the back and then fold those tails over. I will go ahead and tie a bow off camera so I can spare you from that painful process, and we'll just put that on top. So I've got beautiful pumpkins and gathering moments. I've got a lot of leaves in here. I'm going to need to stamp more, but let's use these little guys up. So we've got yellow and Cajun craze and some acorns, and there's another acorn. These are the wrong color. Those grayish ones were actually from a Halloween project. And then I cut this leaf from Cajun Craze, and that is the Gathering Moments dies. I love this big leaf, but let's use some of these smaller ones to create a little cluster down here. I thought it'd be cute to make it look like they're kind of originating from where it's tied, like they're tied on with the ribbon. So I think just the two leaves and this little acorn here, that's cute. I also have an idea of maybe adding a little word. And what I'm thinking, let's go ahead and add this up here. Now, Cindy had some tags up here, so I thought this leaf would kind of represent that tag. Now, let's add some detail to this. This is an embossing folder. It's called Distress Tile. And because that's white core cardstock, you can see all of that white patterning showing through. You can add stitching holes to these leaves, which looks really neat, but I love the embossed look as well. So this says Grateful for You from the Amber Autumn stamp set. And I've got an idea. We've got some early espresso ink. I want to put a little tag kind of like hanging down a sentiment from that embellishment cluster we made under my main family photo. So I stamped that twice. The first one didn't turn out very well. And I've got an oval here. I think that's from Changing Leaves. I think I had it on my magnet board. I'm punching a hole in it with this cute little mini hole punch. And then my thought is to tuck it in like it's tied into this banner here. So let's kind of scoot the acorn out of the way, make some room. I guess I didn't need the hole after all. Oh well, that's okay. I'm not so sure this is going to work out. We'll keep fussing with it here. It's okay, but it's not looking like what I was imagining and had envisioned in my mind. But we'll keep working with it here. Let me get this little acorn in here for my finishing top piece. I'm fumbling, and let's see. You know, I don't think I like it. No, I'm going to pull that out after all of that. We'll save this for another project. And here's Dave. I stepped away to get a glass of water and he came in and wanted to say hello. So, hi Dave. He wants me to hold him. This is our daily thing and he just wants to be held. He's so funny. So, I will do that for a bit and then we can get back to the layout. I need to make more leaves for my ephemera. I didn't have enough already stamped out. So I've got some bits of basic white cardstock here. This is crushed curry, and I'll also bring in some Cajun crazed, and there's two different sized leaves, so I'm just making several of those. These do have the coordinating dies in that Gathering Moment die set, the same die set that I cut that large maple leaf with. And now I've added a photo mat behind each of these, and then I've cut a tag to bring that green paper over. This is a tag die from my stash. And then just a little scrap of this Cajun Craze pattern to bring in a pop of orange. So here are all those leaves, and you can see there's embellishment here. So what I'm thinking is adding another one of these big maple leaves. So I did the same embossing folder for this, and this will just kind of be my base. And then we can build up our little clusters on top of it. I haven't glued that down yet because I'm going to be adding a flip flap. So that's something I need to be mindful of when we are bringing in our embellishment clusters here. I thought I was going to add some of the beautiful pumpkins to my embellishment clusters, but I think I just really want to play with all of these gorgeous fall leaves. But here's what I'm thinking. So what if we need some color down at the bottom. There's not enough color. We've got these big embellishment clusters up top. And again, this is going to open up and down so nothing can be overlapping it. because I need to, it'll be on top of the page protector. So let's just try to bring some more color down here. And I'm not liking that. I've got an idea. What if let's switch these things around. I want to bring this down to the bottom. Again, we need some weight and color down here, but what I have to do then is reverse my photos. So this one, because of the flip flap, will be over here with nothing hindering it. And then I can have my big family photo there and we can do some overlapping on that photo. And I think that's going to work out great. I'm already liking it a lot better with that diagonal draw of the leaf embellishment cluster in the lower corner. It just needed some color and visual weight down there. Since we're going with a bunch of leaves, I remembered I have a box of leaves that I think would go quite nicely with this. So let me show you those. This is called the Harvest Home Garland Kit. It's like a home decor piece and it has everything you need to put together this beautiful fall leaf garland. There's gold foiled leaves in there and acorns. Look at all these leaves that I have left over. So I did my own thing and made this really pretty banner with the alpha banner dies and the leaves, and I hardly used any. And let me pan down here so you can see what we're dealing with. This guy has completely stolen my chair and he's a little spicy right now. So we're going to let him keep that chair. But I love these leaves and I have, like I said, just so many left over. And I had this idea to create the banner and didn't realize I'd end up with so many of these fabulous leaves. So this is perfect. They're ready to go, punched out. They've got texture and detail to them, and all of these gold leaves are gorgeous. So let's just bring some of these in. We have all that gold foiling in the paper, so I thought some pops of the gold with the leaves would look really beautiful. When I think of fall and think of Thanksgiving, I just think colorful leaves everywhere. So these big, bold embellishment clusters are really bringing that home for me. I am using my little pickup tool to get these small acorn pieces. It's just so much easier to use that little putty tip to move your bits and pieces around there. So let's, whatever we do to one cluster, we want to do to the others. I'm just repeating some of those leaves. I've got stamped leaves, die cut leaves, and then leaves from the Harvest Home Garland Kit. And then you can see they're together in like a V shape. So I just rip that apart so I can use them as individual leaves. And then I think we need one more gold leaf right down here. I think these are going to be great to use on some fall cards as well. And I can even decorate my Thanksgiving table with these leaves, just kind of putting them down the center of the table. So lots of fun ideas for those. And I want this little cluster to be finished off with the sentiment on top, just like that. And we have one more little acorn left over. So why not add that little guy right? He's sticking to my finger right there. Let me give you a closer look at these. So there's different leaf styles. I did ink up the edges. We've got oak leaves and maple leaves and little smaller leaves. And again, they're so pretty. Now, these little guys are from an old Close to My Heart stamp set. It's called Happy Turkey Day, and I absolutely love these little pies. So there are some stamps in here as well. This one says skip to the pie. So I was thinking I could stamp that right in this open spot. It does fit, but I feel like that might be too many words of similar size. So we'll just go with the pies. And then I have another sentiment here from a Close to My Heart stamp set. This one is called Crisp Air, and there's a circular element on here. I'm going to use the crushed curry because we don't have any yellow in that upper corner. But this says, "What a beautiful day." And since it's a circle, I'm using my 1 3/4 circle punch here. We'll just punch that out and add that to our little cluster of pies. We got a pumpkin pie, maybe like an apple pie. They're so cute with a little dollop of whipped cream on there. I am having a lot of fun with the details on this one. There are these rub-ons. These are gold. They also come in silver in a pack. You get 2 sheets of each design. And again, we've got all this fun gold foiling and gold leaves. I thought, let's add a little gold rub-ons. I have these. I might as well put them to good use. So I want it kind of coming out from underneath this pie. I already adhered it down because the rub-ons were an afterthought, but that's okay. We'll pry them up, and these go on so easily. You just rub them with your finger. You don't need a popsicle stick and a bunch of elbow grease. They just go on super smooth. And this is like a really shiny gold, and my leaves are kind of a brushed gold, but you know what? I'm fine with it. It looks good, and I'm loving the sparkle and shine here. I'm adding a little bit of the splatter detail to this area. And then I went ahead and printed out my journaling on a 4x4 block. We're going to add a little detail since I have room to the inside. So I'm stamping an acorn in early espresso. Again, this is from the Gathering Moments stamp, and then I'm stamping a Post-it note kind of on the sticky end, and we're creating a mask. So you do need to cut this very close to the edge of your acorn. And this is just creating a mask, and it'll result in like a layered stamped look. So I'm covering my acorn image on my journaling block, and now I'm switching to this leaf and crushed curry for my lighter color. Add a little pop of yellow, and we'll stamp right over that Post-it note acorn. And obviously, it will stick to the Post-it note and not underneath. Now let's switch to Cajun Craze, and we will do I got a little bit of ink on the edge here. Let me wipe that up. So we'll stamp again, kind of off the bottom there, and then we've got that awkward space. So you know what I'm going to do? I am going to stamp another acorn and fill it up. Let's put our mask back on and go back to our early espresso and fill in that corner. It's not perfect, but it's cute. I like it. So this is going to sit under the photo of Hayden and Desiree in a 4x4 flip flap. So I've got all my flip flaps. This one's going to flip up. So what we need to do is make sure this will be upside down. That way it'll be right side up when you flip it up. I'm actually taping them together so they're not shifting around in the flip flap there. So what you want to do is just slide it in. You're going to fold the adhesive over, and I'm actually going to show you how I attach these. So stay tuned for that. And because I have flip flaps, I was able to actually bring in additional photos from the beginning. I decided I had more room, and so I printed a photo of Mike carving up the roast. And then we have more of the guest at the table, kind of a close up shot. So I have lots of extra photos here. So this one over here will flip up, and this is kind of perfect. It'll line up with the photo above it. This one will kind of flip out to the side, and this one will flip up. And then I realized I did not adhere this down. So I need to get this embellishment cluster adhered down. The big red leaf or Cajun craze leaf in the back is glued down, but I just forgot some of these smaller ones. I did add more of those gold foil rub-ons. I'll hold it up here so you can see those. There's some around this cluster here. And then aren't those leaves so pretty? I just really, really love that shine. And I'll add the flip flaps here in a moment, but you can see I added more of the gold around here, a little bit on the left side of the orange tag. And again, those leaves just look so pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in the page protectors. Make sure they're seated all the way down, and then I'm scooting this down so I can get my head under it. What you're going to do is just start with the adhesive flap here. You just want to pull off a corner. I put mine right to the outside of the page protector. Some people put them to the layout itself and then they cut the page protector. There's no right or wrong way. I find this way, it's easy for me to do. I don't have to make any extra cuts in the page protector. So once you have it lined up, you can pull that pull tab and then burnish this in, and it pretty much just disappears. Let's do one more, and I've got it started. You can kind of see there. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to turn this way. So it's a little bit easier for me to line it up this way, kind of going across horizontally. Take your time. These are very sticky. And once you have them down, they're pretty much down. Pull your little pull tab, again, flip it up and burnish that in. And I'll do the one on the left page off camera. I just love these things. They're so much fun. Don't forget to head on over to the website and check out that Black Friday sale. And again, the first 100 qualifying orders will receive a $5 Stampin' Reward bonus from me right on your account. So thank you so much and have a wonderful Thanksgiving, everyone.